All right, welcome everybody. My name is Brad, and this is Bob over here. And I wanted to welcome everybody to our live stream. And so, Bob, how is the Kickstarter going?
The Kickstarter is doing very nicely indeed. Why don't I hit the present button and share my screen and then try to find it? Which, of course, like a Chrome tab. It would help if I didn't have 6 million Chrome tabs open. There we go. Sure you don't, and we'll maximize it. So here we go. Here's the headlines. Thank you very much to everybody who's pledged. That's a pretty handsome number there, given we're about a week in. That's 500% funded, which is good. 152 of you have pledged to us, and we're very pleased to see that. If you haven't pledged, we've got 13 days to go. Please don't forget, it takes us ages and ages and ages to get the models from here into our shop. And when they're in the shop, they're quite a lot more expensive. This is by far your best chance to get them. I've managed to lose. How do I get back to the let's try that. There we go. So here we are.
The biggest question out there really is about the stretch goals, right?
Which is exactly where I was heading.
And we start unlocking. We have quite a few stretch goals open so far.
We have loads of stretch goals open so far. So we're at 15,300. We have to understand that some of that is going to Combat Octopus for the cruise. So that's not quite the amount that's going towards the stretch goals. So let's have a little look, shall we? Where are we? Here we go, stretch goals. The extra stowage was unlocked on day one, as was the M1138 A1G. We've got a print of that, haven't we, Brad? Have you got it in front of you somewhere?
I do. Yeah, that's the one model I didn't have in front of me.
Okay.
It gets down on my photography desk.
Okay. Well, it's been posted up on the Bob Mac 3D group, so go and have a look there. That one's been done. I am currently working on the Leopard 2 A5. I've nearly finished the turret, and if you're really lucky, in a few minutes, I'll show you the screenshot so you can have a look at that. The basic Marder is unlocked, so that's the Mark 1 Marder, if you like, the one that they started with in the mid-70s. It's got this cool little machine gun turret on the back, which is really funky, I think.
Yeah, I've always wondered, Bob, maybe you know because I don't, who was attacking them from the rear that they needed a machine gun in the back?
I think, being Germanic, they were planning on driving over people and shooting them from the rear.
Yeah, I assume so. I don't know why else you'd have it.
Well, all of those. I mean, the big trend back then in the BMP and this was performance on an atomic battlefield. It's nice and easy to keep all the unhealthy radioactive stuff out of the inside of an APC, so it makes sense to fight from the inside of an APC.
From that viewpoint, I get it, right? No one's getting out of this thing was the initial thought, right?
Yeah, absolutely right. That was it. So you'd nicely dust your opponent with tactical nuclear weapons, which would hopefully stop them shooting at you as you rocked up in your Marder APC. You would then drive over them. The blokes inside would shoot out of the gun ports at the side, and if you're lucky enough to have an early model Marder, then you can drive over them and then continue to shoot them as you drive away into the distance with your rear machine gun. So
we're kind of lucky
was
that
the thinking. Obviously, the practicalities didn't work out as such, or perhaps they just needed more space inside, and eventually they got rid of it.
Yep.
To go with your lovely Marder Mark 1 is the Mark 1 or A0 Leopard. So this is the very first one in service. It's distinguished. It's been chopped off here, but you see there's a weather sensor there. Looks a bit like a lollipop, which is a distinctive feature of this. And the early ones didn't have thermal sights. They had image intensifying sights or low light television, and that's the PZB200 night sights sitting there. So those are your two distinguishing features, which you don't get on the later ones.
And do you know how long that was in service? That's 79 to about 80 what?
Yeah, it wasn't huge. It wasn't hugely long. They got the thermal imager in and started replacing them with the thermal imager.
Pretty quickly.
And I'm pretty certain all of these got upgraded to a later standard.
Now, this next one I'm pretty excited about. I think the command truck is
Yeah, you like a truck, don't you, Brad?
Yeah.
Yep. Not 100% certain which version we're going to do because there's several. I'll have a look, see which ones the best references are for. But we'll have a nice office-bodied radio stroke command truck. So you can put your commanders in them. Act as scenario objectives if you're a skirmisher, or give you some command units if you play proper games. The Marder 1A3 is 14,500. Where are we, Brad?
We're at 15.4.
Yeah, I suspect this has been unlocked. We'll have to double check the figures.
Yep.
But I wouldn't surprise me if that's locked. So at the moment, I'm working on the Leopard 2A5. You're going to want an APC to accompany that. That's going to be the Marder 1A3, which was 1989, if my memory serves. It has applique armor down the side. Yeah, it's applique armor on the roof. There's a little bit, I can just about see a little bit of applique armor there as well. So it's basically an up-armored version of the Marder, of the basic one, but it's quite distinctive looking, and it serves, I think it may have only just gone out of service. It was in service for a long time after the Cold War as well.
Yeah, and then they sent him, as I understand it, at least over to the Ukraine.
Yeah, they're in service in the Ukraine at the moment. Yeah,
so,
as is at least one version of the 2A5. I'm not entirely sure which nation sent them.
So it's still pretty relevant, and for my gaming, the A5 and the Marder 1A3 go real well with the late Cold War Germans with their camouflage suits.
Oh yes, that's right.
Like
you painted some up.
Yeah.
They were nice. They were nice.
So that's a pretty nice setup.
Yeah. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 if we don't include the stage. 6 stretch goals. So that's double the number of models you're going to get for your money. So the Kickstarter is becoming increasingly good value for money. There we go. Right, stop sharing and back to you in the studio, Brad. That almost sounds like unprofessional, doesn't it?
Yeah. Very. Yeah, I have to remind everybody. So the Kickstarter live stream that Bob and I are doing here is a completely new thing to us. We're not used to being live. So if you see us stammering or trying to figure out what to say next, that's because we're new at this. But you can, as the audience, ask us questions. So there's a place that I can see the post here. So if you have a question for us, shoot it to us.
Where do they type that, Brad?
I'm not exactly sure on their end where they see them. I just see it showing up on my end. We did get a comment from one of our viewers just saying that it's a great Kickstarter and having the right scale models for 28mm gaming is great. So far, my Eureka Bundeswehr have had to soldier on with box scale Kitsch 2A5s and Martyrs. So,
okay.
Hey, one of the things that I'm a 28mm gamer. I know there's a lot of 15mm gamers out there doing Team Yankee and games like that, but I'm a skirmish level Cold War gamer. And really, Bob and I got started in this because I was hiring Bob to create some vehicles for 28mm gaming. And with 3D printing, it just so happens that it's so easy to scale these things from 28mm to 15 to 20mm, or a lot of people have even gone a lot smaller. And so it's one of the powers of 3D printing. The great thing is, if you're a 15mm gamer now and you're printing these off, painting these, and playing Team Yankee, when you're ready to step up to skirmish level gaming in the Cold War,
step up.
I knew that was going to get you. But when you're ready to do something different, let's say, and do skirmish level gaming in 28, you already have the files. All you have to do is print them off and paint them up. So it's as if you have all of these 28mm armies waiting for you, or 15mm armies waiting for you, or 20mm. It really is really nice to be able to do that. I did want to mention a couple things here as we're talking, and that is the partners we've had on this Kickstarter that we didn't have before. And the first one is Combat Octopus, who is creating specific crew for our vehicles.
And they're
And
nice. They are very, very nice indeed.
Yeah, he has done an absolute fantastic job. Of course, if you're familiar with his work, then everybody knows he does a great job. If you're not, Combat Octopus is on My Mini Factory. You can go check him out. Combat Octopus is one word. So if you're searching for it, it's just one word. He'll come up. And his work is fantastic. He usually does more ultra modern figures, but he has done some Germans. And in this case, they're fantastic. The tow gunner for the Jaguar is really, really nice. But I think his crowning achievement in this Kickstarter is his commander for the Martyr. It's just such a neat piece with him draped over the Milan missile and the gun, holding binoculars. It's pretty cool. He's just done a great job. Plus,
quite a lot of people have bought the add-on, haven't they? It's like 75% at least, isn't it? Do you know the number?
Yeah, I don't know the number right offhand, but it's quite a lot. It's past the majority and totally worth it. One of the things that I always have missed in the past is I wanted commanders sticking out of the hatch of the vehicle, and we create it so that you can switch the hatch, and so you can have a closed one to an open one. And in skirmish gaming, it makes a difference.
Yeah,
and so it's nice to have a switch.
I like as a gamer that does proper games, none of this skirmish rubbish. I like to be able to visually see which ones are command tanks, and having a commander helps with that. So yeah, I'm all in favor of decent command figures. Yep. I'm the sort of bloke that'll put command figures in my 6mm tanks.
Yeah, 6mm commanders. Well, if it works, then great.
Yep, it certainly does.
So thank you, Combat Octopus. He's done a great job. Hopefully we can continue that relationship and so develop more crew for future Kickstarters. The other person I want to mention is District Miniatures, which have created our decals. One of the biggest drawbacks to 3D printing is when you get these vehicles and you print them off and you start painting them, there's not a lot of choice of decals out there. You can get some generic ones, maybe some German crosses, maybe some stuff like that, but it's difficult to get exactly what you want, the license plates, all the markings. We have teamed up with District Miniatures, and he went live on his store yesterday, and it's just District Miniatures, the District Miniature, or is it just districtminiatures.com?
Why don't you talk about the decals and I'll have a quick Google. How's that?
But he has created a decal sheet for each of the vehicles. So you get one for the Leopard, one for the Martyr, one for the Unimog, one for the Jaguar. And so you can get a specific sheet, and these contain enough to do a platoon. So you can do 3-4 vehicles with one sheet. And he has researched it, put the all the proper decals on here for you to put together a unit, which is very, very, very nice. This is really stepped up the game for the vehicles. Hopefully everybody's seen my paint jobs, and you can see the number one thing they're missing is those decals.
Right. It turns out to be... Oh, hang on a minute. That jumps it to... Well, he has a Facebook group. Oh, here we go. Right. Yeah. It is districtminiatures.com, all one word.
Yep. And these are available now, so you can order now, and he is putting some more different decals into it.
Yeah, you've already put some on your models, haven't you? How did they go on? How thin are they? They good? They come
They're nice and thin. I'm putting together a video on how to do the decals. Well, okay. There's definitely some tips and tricks and stuff to do on these. So
when are the punters going to see that?
We'll probably see it next week. Early next week, I'll have that video out there.
Something to look forward to then.
Yes, for sure. So we got one of my favorite questions in the chat, and the answer is, how about doing the weasel? And the reason that's my favorite question is just in general, how about doing X, right? We always get that. In this Kickstarter, we got a lot of people who wanted the Leopard 1, or they wanted the German version of the M48, or they wanted,
The
whatever it
Gepard.
may be, right? And the easy answer is I want a Weasel too. I think they'd be great, especially for skirmish gaming, right? I think it's a great vehicle. But when we do these Kickstarters, we have to pick, right? We can't do everything. There are so many vehicles out there that I want that I'm keeping Bob working full time as much as I can berate him to create models. But I'm half joking. But the point is there's just a lot, and we have to pick. The sculpting that Bob does is not quick. He puts a lot of detail. He puts a lot of focus, a lot of research into these vehicles. And so when we create them, there's a lot of work that goes into a single model. Now, there's a lot out there that is sculpted and created, and there's some creators that are certainly prolific. But in my world, it's that detail that counts, and that time and that effort, that energy that Bob puts into it creates just a gorgeous model. So that being said, when we do a Kickstarter, we have to understand the time frame, understand how long that's going to take, and put those models together. And so a thing like the Weasel or the Leopard 1 or the Gepard or all those other great German models that are out there, we'll get to them. It's probably another Kickstarter.
Absolutely, it's another Kickstarter. Pretty much, I can guarantee we're going to do a Leopard 1. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's iconic. There are lots of different versions. We're going to do one. And if we do one, there's going to be a Gepard because it makes sense. The Weasel, I hate it. I'm not doing this out of work. We got so much to do that it's going to take us ages. What was it? Steel Oxide did a whole set of Weasels, and they're lovely.
Yeah,
and
they are.
I don't want to. I think you probably ought to just go and find his.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
If we get around to it, it's going to be bleeding ages. And to be honest, if he's done it, it undercuts the market for us doing them. So Steel Oxide makes very nice Weasels. I'll go and see if you can get one of his.
He does. And he has a Facebook group that's out there. I'll put it in the chat that he did do a really, really nice set of Weasels. And he had a little Kickstarter for that, I think. And hopefully they're available somewhere out there because they are pretty cool. And Steel Oxide's one of those creators that does a fantastic job. One of the things I love about 3D printing, and I like a lot about 3D printing as a gamer.
Do you, Brad? Are you sure?
I do. Is that, and I digress, but I probably do more 3D printing than a majority of people that are out there just because of how Bob and I work together and how much modeling there is going on. And
how many printers have you got, Brad?
I've got, the question is, how many printers do I use currently? And I have 6 going now that are current. I have another, probably 8 that I don't use anymore just because the technology's changed. I started with them. So our first Kickstarters I was using, 2-3 years ago, using the earlier versions of all these printers. But as technology's increased and the resolutions increased, I've switched them all out almost every Kickstarter. And so now, I'm up on, Mars 3s and 4s right now.
Yeah, but it's worth noting that all of our stuff's designed to fit on a basic bog standard small resin print plate.
Yeah, they haven't gotten very big, meaning that the printers I have now are the same size basically as the ones we started with, but they're just the resolution's better, the kit's better, their design is a little bit better. But ultimately, putting these back onto, the earlier ones, they'll print just the same. They really will. They do a great job.
I've still got a Mark 1 Photon. That's it.
Yeah, and when's the last time you used it, Bob?
It was quite a long time ago, to be fair. Well, I know a really good printer.
Yeah, I know. It cranks out all the test models and prints
absolutely.
everything. And
right.
I did bring here into the chat all the painted versions I have done. I have all the core models painting, and for me, the painting is a lot of fun. Hopefully, if you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, which is just Bob Mac 3D on YouTube, if you search it, you'll find us. But I have painting videos on everything. I haven't published all of them. Next week I'll publish another one. The week after I'll publish another one. But I have all the painting for the martyr, the leopard. I'm posting the Loosh and the jaguar up there. This week I posted up the Hanamag, which is a fun little model.
Hanamag? That's not a Hanamag.
Not a Hanamag. Unimog, right?
I can do you a Hanamag, but that's a Unimog.
This is a Unimog. I will say one of the things that I love about 3D printing, I'll mention this all the time. I probably mentioned the last time, and that is that what 3D printing does is I can print off 2 or 3 of these models, and I can increase my skills of painting because I'm not afraid I'm going to ruin it. If I ruin it, I'll print another one and I'll paint it up. And that alone has increased my painting skills, just that mental, mindset that I can mess this up and I can print another one to replace it allows me the freedom to experiment and get better. So if you're a painter out there, 3D printing is extremely helpful.
All modelers and gamers are painters, I would have thought. You don't see many unpainted models around, to be fair.
I know a lot of gamers that who just like painting their stuff with a rattle can and putting it on the table, and they don't care about the paint.
Yeah, I know 1 or 2 of them, but they're mostly 40K gamers, and they don't count.
True.
Okay, we should at least get 1 comment on that. I've mortally upset somebody now, haven't I?
I'm sure. Yeah, we're gonna get banned now because of this.
Can we get banned from our own channel? Seems unlikely.
Yeah. Since we've been talking about 3D modeling, I would love to see your progress on the A6.
A6? A5.
A5.
You would like to see my progress on the A5. That can be achieved. Hang on a minute. Let me see if I can make the technology do what I want it to do.
And while you're looking that up, I'll mention, when Bob and I talk, he's always showing me his progress on models, and I find it fascinating just the amount of detail that's out there in one of these models, all the bits and pieces and greebles and things that go into it. Yeah, that looks cool.
Yeah, thank you. Perhaps we ought to explain what a greeble is. What's a greeble?
It's all the little bumps and things that are on top of the tank.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the lumpy, bumpy bits. So all these rivets and bolts and things, they're greebles. So this is the turret. 90%, 95% complete for the Leopard 2A5. I was rather hoping when I started it that it would be fairly simple sort of conversion from the A4 turret. And hiding under there somewhere is an A4 turret. Sort of this bit. Now this is an this bit in the middle is definitely the A4 turret. But this bit around the front with all the add-on armor, that's all brand new. All of this stuff on the top, that's all new. The sight is, at least in theory, the same sight as the A4, but they moved it up. It used to, I don't know if how many of you know the A4 turret, but the A4's sight is further down here. I think they moved it up to remove the great hole in the front armor, which was a vulnerability on the A4. So it's a lot less vulnerable now because it's up here and you've got more armor in front.
It makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of sense. We have the what do you call it? This is the Commander's Independent Thermal Viewer, CITV. That's it. So that's your Commander's thermal sight, which of course is brand new on the A5. That means that the cupola here is different. I mean, it's got this large vision port on the front, which the A4 certainly does not have. The hatch swings on a different pivot, so this is quite a lot changed. They've added some storage at the back, so the A4 turret finishes about there, and you've got some extra boxes on the back as well. So it's quite distinctively different, apart from the fact that it's got this huge, great wodge of armor on the front. So that's what it looks like. What I might do This is the same gun as the A4. It's the Rheinmetall 120mm L44. The A6 has a pretty much the same gun, but it's a bit longer. I may well make a longer version. I'm not doing a proper A6 because that's
Is
getting
another
to be a
Kickstarter.
lot of work. That's another Kickstarter, absolutely. But for those of you who are power gamers out there, surely not. For those of you that power gamers out there, if you want a reasonable proxy, and because it's nice and straightforward, I'll make a longer barrel, which will at least give you something that looks a bit like an A6, if it's not really an A6. So that's it. Haven't started on the hull yet. There are differences on the hull. Skirt's different. Driver's hatch is different. Got some different tools on it. But I'm thinking that this will be finished by the middle of next week. And if we go at it a bit, we may be able to show you a printed version on Friday, maybe Monday. So I'll try and get this to Matt. I don't want to call you Matt on all of these things, Brad. I will try and get this to Brad as soon as I possibly can.
And what's amazing to me is if you look at the A4 Leopard, right? The turret already covers up all the cool tools and all the detailed painting I did on the back. There's not a lot of room left for a turret, either going front or back. So that A5 turret's got to be huge.
It is enormous.
I mean, it's the size of the tank itself, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, but that makes it look distinctive, and we like distinctive.
Yeah, we like distinctive for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well, we've got another 5 minutes or so till we're due to finish. Have we had any more questions? And if you do have questions, now's a really good time to type them in because you're going to lose your chance in a few minutes.
No, the only comment we've got, Bob, is that I personally should be banned for calling a Unimog a Hanamag.
A band? It's not exactly amongst heinous crimes. It's not that heinous, is it?
Oh, yeah. So I apologize for that. No, so the Kickstarter is going very well. I'm excited. I am definitely looking forward to seeing the rest of the stretch goals being unlocked and being able to fill out my army with all the exciting stuff. Looking through the stretch goals, I can say the ones that are coming up that I'm pretty darn excited about is the Kennen Jagdpanzer. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Kanonen Jagdpanzer.
But
as if I know better than you. Kanonen Jagdpanzer, I believe, yes.
Yeah, and unlocking that would be fabulous. It's such an iconic Cold War German kind of mentality vehicle. Very, very few people make this. I don't know. Do you still call it a tank destroyer?
Yeah, it's a tank destroyer. But it's a Jagdpanzer.
Yeah.
You want a hunting tank, if you want the literal translation.
It's a cool. So for me, that one to be unlocked would be a lot of fun. I think it's a neat, unique, iconic vehicle.
I'm quite looking forward to doing the Marder Roland.
Now, the Marder Roland would be really neat too, right?
Absolutely.
And that's a big radar set on there. So I look at that, and the first thing I think about, Bob, is printing that radar dish. And I'm like, how am I going to support that? How is that going to work?
No, it's not. It shouldn't be. I'll probably make it a separate part, I guess. I mean,
you'd have to just to support it. I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Yeah,
for sure.
I have a friend who works for Kinetic in the UK, and probably people don't know, but Kinetic is the MOD, Ministry of Defence operational research thing, and he deals with air defence. And one of the things he said to me was, that Roland, that's a pretty fine Sam. Yeah, sure. And he's a man who ought to know. So British MOD, they reckon the Roland's a good system.
Cool.
Sort of interesting to know.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. Very interesting.
The rapier which we bought. I hear this is not his comment. This is my comment. He has not made any comments at all upon the rapier, I might add. The rapier, well, it didn't do that great in the Falklands, did it? Now, I know there were mitigating circumstances and they didn't turn the radar on because it interfered with something on the battleships. But nonetheless, it wasn't awe-inspiring. So
no, and I'm assuming they've updated it.
Oh, yeah. No, that was one of the Falklands is Field Standard A or Field Standard B because it had blind fire. And they've gone to Rapier. In fact, we've removed all the Rapier rapiers now. It went to Rapier 2000 for a little while, and now we've got a thing called Scepter.
Right.
I have a feeling it's got a big acronym name. The really modern stuff, I don't know so much about.
That's the Cold War stuff.
I'm more of a Cold War man.
Oh, I am for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. Did we get any more questions? Because
nope. We are good.
We are good.
I want to thank everybody for showing up here. It's always fun to do these. Our goal here is to give you some insight into what Bob and I are doing and how we do these things. So hopefully you've learned something today and thought it was valuable. Otherwise, please back the Kickstarter, and we will see you when it's done. Thanks, everybody.
And if you did think of a question, well, if you find the Bob Mac 3D discussion group and just dump it in the comments underneath the video, I watch that pretty religiously. I'll get back to you. We'll find you an answer.
All right. Thanks, everybody. And have a good one.